Good evening. Thank you for choosing KTAB News. Our top story tonight, an exclusive live interview with Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Since he and I last spoke, coronavirus has made a vigorous return. That's part of what we'll talk about in the next few minutes. The governor is live from the Capitol in Austin. Mr. Governor, thank you for joining us tonight.
Great to be back again. Thank you so much, Bob.
Okay. Just a couple of hours ago it was announced that you are ordering Texans to wear face masks. Tell us about that order and why you've decided to do that.
So listen, this was really always going to be a last option. What we've seen over the past few weeks has been a spiraling out of control in the amount of people who are getting COVID-19, the amount of hospitalizations that we're seeing, an increase in deaths that we're seeing. And I said when we opened up the state of Texas for business that if the positivity rate, which is the percentage of people who are tested or test positive, goes above 10%, that would set off alarm bells. That began days ago. And when you see, look at Tom Green County, for example. You're setting some high numbers for the past couple of days in the number of people testing positive, more than double where you were just 10 days ago. That speed of increase is being replicated across the entire state of Texas. So with that framework, the last thing I want to do in Texas is to shut the economy back down. We don't need any more lockdowns. So what can we do to slow the spread of the coronavirus while still allowing people to go back to work, to earn a paycheck? Doctors say the best thing that we can do is for people to wear face masks. If you wear a face mask and everybody else is wearing a face mask, it pretty much eliminates the transmission of COVID-19. It's been done in other states. It's been done in other countries. It can be done in Texas. In fact, it was done in Texas more effectively back in the April timeframe than it is today. Our goal is to make sure that people will be able to continue to prosper while also protecting their lives. We can achieve both by having people wear face masks.
Well, part of your order was limiting groups to no more than 10 people. We have a Freedom Festival coming up Saturday in Abilene, live music and games for children, fireworks display for the 4th, and then there's church on Sunday. What happens to all of that?
Couple of things. One thing to be clear about what the order provides, that limit of 10 is outdoors, not indoors. And hence, I don't know if that church ceremony was going to be indoors or not. I'm assuming it's indoors and would not be subject to it. But also I specifically said that churches were not subject to this order. Separate from that, with regard to gatherings of 10 or more outdoors, I say that mayors or county judges have the authority to allow those events to go forward. The reason why it's structured that way is whenever there's an event outdoors, someone needs to be in charge and responsible for making sure that safety standards will be in place to ensure there's not the transmission of COVID-19. Doesn't mean that you can't have those outdoor events. It does mean that one of your elected official leaders is going to take responsibility to make sure that they prevent it from turning into a COVID transmission event.
Well, as a matter of fact, we're going to be hearing from the mayor and the county judge when we're done with our conversation, so we'll get more insight. They probably appreciate that guidance from you. We've seen so many numbers. There are different tests. The state has changed how things are counted and how counties report cases. What can we believe about the numbers that you're using and that we're seeing?
The numbers that I receive, which are the numbers that are put out by the State Department of Health Services, they've remained using the same strategy all along, with only one modification that took place back in May. In the first few days of antibody tests, the numbers were combined, but they were separated very quickly and provided separately. But other than that, all the numbers have remained exactly the same, except for one thing. Since June, they've been going up. And so whether it be the number of people testing positive, the hospitalizations, the positivity rate, and now deaths are going up. Those are warning signs that we have a problem on our hands that requires more response to make sure we contain, because if we do not contain this measure right now, we will lose the last best chance to slow the coronavirus for anything short of having shut our economy back down. That's the last thing that we want to have happen in Texas.
Dr. Fauci kind of took Texas to task, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said he won't listen to Dr. Fauci anymore. What is your position on that, and do you want to get in the middle of their debate?
Well, so here's the situation that I'm in. As governors, we have a weekly telephone conference with the White House coronavirus doctor, who is Dr. Deborah Birx. Last name is spelled B-I-R-X. You probably have seen her on TV. And so I talk with Dr. Birx at least once a week, sometimes more often than that. Also, when I created this plan to open up Texas for business again, I ran it by Dr. Birx in advance, and she approved it. Then if you saw this past Sunday, I was in Dallas with the Vice President as well as with Dr. Birx, and I had a long conversation with Dr. Birx, and she said publicly that Texas had a smart plan for opening up business. So my point is that Dr. Birx is really the person that I, as governor, have the communications with in Washington, D.C. We collaborate very effectively together, and she thinks that Texas is doing a good job of trying to contain the coronavirus.
Governor, briefly in our last moments together, we've had calls about renewing driver's licenses. Things are backed up there. You announced the extension of SNAP benefits for July. Just how are other state departments operating during all of this? And did you have to lay anyone off at the state level?
Well, so first, with regard to driver's licenses, those offices are supposed to be back open now. And they may have limited capacity. I'm not sure what the situation may be in Tom Green County right now, but they should be up and running and available. I do, however, want to remind everybody of something very important, and that is if you need to renew your license, you can actually do it online without having to go in. That can save you a whole lot of time and make it more convenient for you. But for other state agencies, listen, they're up and running with this caveat. And that is to the extent they're operating in Austin, Texas, or some other areas, sometimes it is done from home because the Capitol is not fully open right now because there are people in the Capitol who periodically are testing positive for COVID-19. And so we have to be careful about who is coming in and make sure we have the appropriate safety standards in place. And so a lot of people continue to work from home, especially with this new rapid spiking outbreak of COVID-19.
Mr. Governor, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us once again, and I'm sure we'll be able to get together in the future and talk some more. Thanks again so much.
Count on it. Everybody have a very happy 4th of July.
Thank you, Governor Greg Abbott, live from Austin, exclusively on KTAB.